Stop talking at me.
I don't have to stop talking.
Yes, you do.
Goodbye.
Okay, have a nice day.
You too. What's your name and badge number?
Sir,
With a camera in my hand. Am I gonna walk up and pull a gun out and shoot somebody with a camera in my hand?
in your vehicle.
Am I free to go? Am I free to go?
I'm sorry I had to do it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you're a bad owner.
Some cops think the badge makes them untouchable until the truth hits them like a brick wall. In this video, you'll witness what happens when evil cops get the reality check of a lifetime. From abuse of power to jaw-dropping reversals, these aren't just mistakes, they're wake-up calls. And trust me, what you're about to see will leave you questioning everything.
For what? Officer safety?
I'm telling you right now, take your hand
Oh,
out
he's
your
got a
pocket.
gun drawn.
Sir, take
He's
your
got
hand
his
out your
gun
pocket.
drawn
Take
for
your
a
hand out your
man
pocket.
with a camera coming up to a cop car
Take your hand out
that's
your
sitting in a
pocket.
parking lot.
This encounter spiraled the moment an officer noticed a man legally filming in public. The man was calm, respectful, and within his constitutional rights, yet that didn't stop the officer from stepping in. And not to de-escalate, no, he wanted control. Instead of walking away, he tried to flip the script, turning a legal act into a confrontation he could dominate. But what the officer does next, well, that's where things take a turn.
How you doing, Dad?
Hey,
What's up?
you seem like you want to come talk to me.
No, I'm just coming to see what car number it is.
Am I taking out your pocket?
Huh?
Am I taking your hand out your pocket?
Am I detained?
No, you're not being detained. Take your hand out.
I don't have to take my hand out of my pocket. I didn't break no law. Car number 2036, sitting in the parking lot, not even parked in the proper parking spot, wasting tax dollars money.
Take your hand out your pocket.
I don't have to do nothing you tell me.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't. Is that a lawful order?
So man was a Canadian.
Is it a lawful order?
Yes, it's a lawful order.
For what? Officer safety?
I'm telling you right now, take your hand
Oh,
out
he's
your
got a
pocket.
gun drawn.
Sir, take
He's
your
got
hand
his
out your
gun
pocket.
drawn.
The officer's behavior wasn't about safety, it was about pride. A citizen stood by peacefully with a camera, but instead of addressing the actual question about the patrol car, the officer latched on to a meaningless excuse: hands in pockets. That's not a crime. But when control slipped through his fingers, the cop did what too many do. He turned to intimidation. The moment he grabs for control will leave you stunned.
Take
For
your
a
hand out your
man
pocket.
with a camera coming up to a cop car
Take your hand out
that's
your
sitting in a parking lot. This is considered police brutality because he just drawed. I'm putting it right back. I got my keys and lighter in there. Nothing else. I don't have. That's no. You just drew a weapon on a private citizen doing a. Huh?
Okay, stop talking at me.
I don't have to stop talking.
Yes, you do.
Goodbye.
Okay, have a nice day.
You too. What's your name and badge number?
My name's Owen. 7.
Owens? All
You
right.
might not want to walk up to me with your hand in your pocket.
I can walk up to a police officer with my hands in my pocket. That's not unlawful.
Go try and get your little lawsuit and get over
What?
Go try and get your lawsuit and get on my face. Go.
I got a lawsuit, bud. You just drew a weapon on me for no reason.
Being challenged didn't sit well with the officer, so he leaned on a flimsy excuse that's been used far too often. I feared for my safety. No threat, no reasonable suspicion, just vibes. And those vibes were enough in his mind to justify digging through someone else's pockets. That's not policing, that's a textbook violation of the Fourth Amendment disguised as procedure. But what he says while doing it, well, you'll want to hear that.
This is definitely going to your supervisor. Officer Owens just drew his weapon on me. Huh?
Right now you're being detained.
For what? For what?
I'm 2-4. I got one detained.
For what? What are you detaining me
Terry
for?
frisking you because I'm fearing for my safety.
You're going into my pocket. Yeah. This man just unlawfully detained me
All right.
for no reason. He
Can I
grabbed
help you
me.
with anything else?
Huh?
Can I help you with anything else?
Yeah, I was going to ask you a question while you were
No, you're not.
sitting in the parking
You're
lot.
walking up trying to pick a fight with law enforcement. That's all.
Ooh!
You got one.
Here,
bud.
here, here.
You got one. What's
I'm
your
walking up trying to pick a fight with
Yes,
law
you
enforcement.
are. What else do you
Goodbye. If I'm not detained, you don't have nothing else to say to me, I'm leaving. Fucking cop gonna get lawsuit now.
Deputy Owens wasn't upholding the law. He was bending it to suit his mood. The man wasn't disruptive, wasn't trespassing, wasn't even being evasive. He clearly explained he was waiting for someone, but that didn't matter. Owens pushed for a trespassing charge with no property owner involved. And once the rules stopped working in his favor, the deputy started rewriting them. But just wait until you hear what he tries to charge him with next.
Deputy Owens. You don't know what I'm doing here, so you don't have no right to tell me anything. I'm waiting for somebody. You can't tell me to move on. How are you gonna trespass me without there being permission? Bullshit. No, I'm not.
Now the deputy was inventing laws as he went. The man calmly stated his rights, explained why he was filming, and stood his ground, but Owens wasn't interested in facts. He escalated, shouted, threatened arrest over things that weren't even crimes. A lawful order has to be rooted in actual law. This one, well, it was rooted in ego, and ego was losing. The next move Owens makes pushes things dangerously close to the edge.
I'm waiting for somebody to get off work at Walmart.
You're sitting over here trying to pick fights.
Oh, you don't know what I'm here for. I've been here waiting for my sister-in-law to get off work, so.
My car with your freaking hands in your car.
I can come up to a cop car with my hands in my pocket. That's not unlawful, asshole. Fucking idiot.
No, that is unlawful.
No, it is not.
Order from a police officer. Get your
Bullshit.
And what you do?
Bullshit. That's not a lawful order. Not a lawful order. I wasn't detained. You're the one that's not listening. Unless I'm violating the law, you have no authority over me.
You're not supposed to follow your freaking order.
It is not loitering. I have a purpose now. I'm videotaping you.
Your purpose is not to go to jail.
Yeah, well, right. Uh-huh.
Procedure was long gone. What came next was retaliation. The deputy threatened to jail for disobedience, but there was no law behind the command. The citizen had asked a fair question. What law says I can't have my hands in my pockets? Owens had no answer because, well, there is none. And when officers run out of the law, well, they often resort to force, and that is exactly what you're about to see.
Supervisor. Supervisor.
And guess what? You're going to jail after.
Right. For what?
You got your fight.
For what?
Right now you're
For what? I came up to record a police officer, which is my constitutional right to do.
You walked up with hands in your
That is not illegal.
What'd you do?
That is not illegal. You jumped out on me.
You didn't listen to a lawful order from a police officer. What'd you do?
That's not a lawful order. No, it's not. No, it is not. It is not a lawful order. What law am I violating by having my hand in my pocket? What law is that? What law is that?
I'm just now pulling up. I have no idea what's going on.
I just got out to go and see what card number it was. I'm a First Amendment auditor, journalist.
Now everything falls apart. The officer's rationale, completely baseless. The man wasn't detained, wasn't hostile, wasn't doing anything illegal. He clarified this over and over, but the officer clung to the illusion of authority based on nothing more than the phrase, "because I said so." And that kind of power, it's the most dangerous kind. But the way he tries to justify it next will leave you speechless.
I go and film cops in the course of their duties. That's my right. He's been sitting here since I pulled up. And parked and not even parked correctly in the parking lot, right? So I went to get his car number and go around his car, get the plate number. He jumps out and is like, "Get your hand out of your pocket." I don't have to take my hand out of my pocket unless that's not a lawful order. There is no law against me walking around with my hand in my pocket.
I'm not battling you at all.
I'm not saying you are, but I don't have to take my hand out of my pocket.
Listen to what I'm saying. What part of what he said was unlawful?
There is no law that says I can't have my hand in my pocket.
What part of what he said was unlawful?
Nothing.
Okay.
But there's no law that says I can't have my hand in my pocket. So it's an unlawful order.
saying the same thing over
Well, I'm done talking. No, he told me to get my hand out of my pocket.
This is the turning point. The officer escalates to pulling a gun. Why? Not because of danger, no, because of perceived defiance. Hands in pockets doesn't justify deadly force, not under Terry versus Ohio, not under any training manual, and yet here it was. And the officer's justification for drawing the weapon? Well, let's just say it was far from convincing. And what he says while holding that gun, it's unreal.
That's not a lawful order. There is no law that says I can have my hand in my pocket, you idiot. No, there's not. You have to have a law to back it up, you idiot.
If you pull off right now, you will.
I want your supervisor.
He's on his way. But if you pull
He pulled a gun on me. He pulled a gun on me for having my hand in the pocket. That is not a lawful order. That's illegal. That's police brutality. There is no reason for him to draw a weapon. He's got an unlawful. You got a taser. You could have pulled your taser instead of your gun, you idiot. He pulled his gun on me.
So right now, for purposes of what's going on right now, you just detained our supervisor.
What crime am I breaking?
Right now, you're loitering.
What makes this moment worse isn't just that the officer pulled a gun, it's that he genuinely believes he was entitled to do so. No threat, no resistance, just a citizen who knew his rights and stood his ground. That was the real threat, because when evil cops feel challenged, they reveal the truth. It's never about the law. It's always about control. And this time, he got the reality check of a lifetime.
No, I'm not. I told him I'm waiting for my sister-in-law to get off work from Walmart. That's not loitering. My sister-in-law works here, and I'm waiting for her to get off work. When I pulled up, he was sitting there, been sitting there since I pulled up here. I figured I'd get out since that's what I do, is film police.
You got out looking for it.
Oh, if it didn't, and you just gave it to me by pulling your gun on me, you idiot.
Yeah. Guess what? That's what happens when you don't listen.
I don't have to listen unless I break the law. No, I don't. Well, okay, what reasonable articulable suspicion did you have to pull your gun on me? Officer Owens, what reasonable articulable suspicion? What reasonable articulable suspicion am I being detained for right now?
Well, for right now, he gave you a lawful order.
Bullshit, that's not a lawful order.
Watch how quickly the officer abandons legal reasoning. The citizen brings facts, the officer brings attitude. Suddenly the debate shifts to tone, volume, and personal offense, none of which are crimes. And when a cop starts bickering like a middle schooler while wearing a badge, you have to wonder, what's he really trying to hide? Because what happens after this gets even more revealing.
He didn't have no reason to approach me. I can record. I approached his car, filming. That's my right to do.
So you approached him. Let's hold on. So for right now,
Mm-hmm.
you approached him, correct?
I approached the car to get to film the car.
In the car, correct?
That doesn't matter if I approach the car.
That's around the fact you approached him. You're saying he approached you, okay? So you approached his car because you wanted to get his car number.
Information.
Okay, and fair enough, right? But if he says, hey, get your hands out your pocket.
I don't have to comply because I don't. No, it is not. No, it is not.
That is unlawful.
I've already got this shown in court cases that you do not have the authority to tell me what to do unless I break the law.
So we're just talking in circles. I'm just let you sit here, man. We're
Yep.
talking in circles, and we're just going to continue talking in circles.
What's remarkable here isn't just the officer's ignorance of the law, it's how confidently he leans into it. He treats disobedience like a crime and assumes that anyone who pushes back must be a sovereign citizen. But that's not what this is. This is a calm, informed man asserting his constitutional rights, and watching that unfold reveals just how little some officers understand or care about the oath they took. And the way the officer reacts to being challenged, that's where it gets revealing.
Because
Your supervisor, please.
right, and I believe I'm right. We're going to continue to talk.
Supervisor.
He's coming.
All right.
Okay, I'm not omnipotent. I can't make a teleport.
Mm-hmm.
So, like we said, right now you're detained.
For what?
Right now, loitering.
I'm not loitering. I'm waiting for my sister to get off work. I don't have to get my hand out of my pocket. No, I do not. So you're going to tell me I have to identify now too? Uh-huh.
You don't even know what you're talking about.
I do too. I know the law.
Shit about sovereign citizen on
I'm not a sovereign citizen. You're the sovereign citizen. You're the one that thinks laws don't apply to you. My constitutional right gives me the right to come up. I know. I got one too.
I'm not trying to hide.
You got out and pulled your gun on me because I wouldn't put my hand. I don't have to pull my hand out of my pocket. No, I don't.
I'm telling you right now, if you keep this going, you're going to handcuffs.
When a cop says he's had enough, as if his mood dictates the law, you're no longer watching policing, you're watching a tantrum with a badge. No weapons were found, no threats were made, just an officer who got annoyed that someone dared stand firm. And for him, that irritation became justification for handcuffs. But what happens when backup arrives will show you just how deep it goes.
Because I'm sick and tired of this. I don't know what you got in that freaking vehicle, but it's clearly not the right state of mind.
You better pull your dog off. Get your dog off.
I said the reason that he's taking a little bit, there's another call that they're on right now. That's what I was just on the radio about, okay?
I don't see him doing anything. The deputy. Oh, you're talking about your supervisor.
He's on his way, that's what I'm saying.
And here's where manipulation kicks in. The supervisor tries to wrap everything up in polite language, repackaging unlawful orders as concern or safety. It's a sleight of hand, emotions replacing statutes, but fear, whether genuine or performative, isn't a legal reason to sidestep the Constitution. If it were, every cop could write their own laws on the fly. And what he says next tries to do exactly that.
So do you have any questions for me that I can answer at all?
Yeah, why did he draw his weapon on me?
I don't know, I wasn't here for that.
What's the law? What's the... I don't have to get my hand out of my pocket.
Listening.
I don't have to listen to you unless I break the
You
law.
don't have to listen.
I don't.
You don't have to listen to the lawful order.
No, I don't. Yeah, it has to have a law backing it up to be a lawful order. Huh?
You're special.
There has to be a law backing it up to be a lawful order.
And this isn't me trying to belittle you at all.
Really?
That is not at all.
Yeah, it is.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
If you're sitting on the side of the road, and I'm in fear for your safety because a car might come around the corner and hit you and say, hey, sir, do you mind just moving along right here?
Do I have to obey?
You throw a mask.
Do I have to obey?
The narrative starts twisting. Suddenly, vague discomfort is treated like probable cause, as if filming, waiting, or sitting quietly requires some kind of declaration of innocence, but legally, it doesn't. The law says loitering means intent to loiter, not standing still, not holding a phone. If that's suspicious behavior, then everyone in a parking lot is breaking the law. And the next excuse they give only proves that point.
Do I have to obey you asking me to move along? No, I don't. If I'm on public property, you can't tell me to move along if I'm on public property. The loitering has to be remaining in one place without intent of something to do. If I have intent to be there or a reason to be there, I can be there as long as I want.
Hold on, hear me out. So if you just approach me randomly, I've never even seen you in my life. You've been sitting here for a second, like you said you did, and you just come up in my car. I've been seeing you sit here for a while. What am I thinking that you're doing?
I don't care what you're thinking.
You haven't gone to the store at all, right? You've been sitting here. You said you've been watching them, correct? Okay, so if that's true and you've been sitting here, you've been watching them, you have made no intent to go in that store. How is he supposed to telepathically read your mind to understand that you're sitting here waiting for your sister? So he comes up.
But he didn't even ask me what I was here for. He said that I was loitering before he even asked me if I had a purpose. And my purpose.
He came up. He got out. He said, "Hey, can you take your hands out your pocket for me?" Because
No, I don't have
all
to.
he knows is if somebody approached him with their hands in his pocket. Sir,
With a camera in my hand. Am I going to walk up and pull a gun out and shoot somebody with a camera in my hand?
in your vehicle, and I
That-
don't know what's in your vehicle.
I don't care.
Left hand and your right hand keep disappearing. And honestly,
There.
the way you're at, thank you. See, look at that. That's the
There, how's that?
Wide. Look, see how that was a lawful?
I didn't know.
Now the officer tries to de-escalate, sort of. With fake calm and subtle condescension, he downplays how close he came to escalating a harmless moment into a deadly one. And somehow, he expects the man to be thankful. That's not professionalism, that's systemic confidence that no matter what, they'll be shielded. But listen closely, they're not done trying to twist this around.
I'm doing it for my safety because I'm not about to get shot by one of you motherfuckers.
Talking to you, and
I don't care.
Conversation
I don't care.
deteriorated because right now you're up here, and I've been talking to you the entire time. Okay, that conversation had no weight whatsoever.
Hold on.
We were both at the same level. So now that I can bring it back down, if you calm down and listen
Well,
to me, right
I'm not gonna calm down until this fucker gets away from me. He already pulled a gun on me and pointed at me.
Again, if I had the answers to that, I wasn't here. I apologize. I have no idea. But for right now,
He was considering using deadly force on me for my hand in my pocket. That would have been a hell of a fucking news report, wouldn't it?
I've also been a pretty bad news report if you pulled a pistol out of your pocket.
I wouldn't have pulled the pistol out. My intent was to go to record. That's what I got a fucking camera in my hand for.
Know that, so we have to ask you politely to remove your hands from your.
He didn't ask me politely.
Okay, well, the next bad person that comes up.
He didn't ask me politely, and I don't have to. No, I don't. Is it really?
Did you lose
All right.
years on your life? You didn't lose any years on your life at all.
No, but I got threatened with a gun.
The officer, cornered by his lack of justification, tries to reframe the entire encounter as a lesson in tone. He shifts focus from legality to attitude, as if being calm somehow outweighs being right. He avoids a simple yes or no, not because he doesn't know the answer, but because the answer would expose how flimsy his real authority is. But the next twist of his logic takes it to a whole new level.
God himself. What I'm trying to say to you is.
But it's not a lawful order, though.
Answer your question. This
It-
is
no.
This is the third attempt I've tried to answer your question. You jumped down my throat.
Well, okay, is it a lawful order? Yes or no?
We're not at that point. To get up to it, you walked up to him.
It doesn't matter if I walked up.
Can I answer your question? You are so worked up for me to answer your question.
Because he pulled a gun on me.
Can I answer your question?
No, I'm done. No!
And just when you think it couldn't get even more absurd, the supervisor drops the mask. Instead of addressing why a gun was drawn on an unarmed man committing no crime, she sticks to a rehearsed phrase: officer safety. That's it. No concern for public trauma, no recognition of how reckless it was, just robotic defense, as if protocol excuses everything. And wait until you hear how she justifies it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm the supervisor.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Well, I got a complaint. This deputy first said that I didn't follow the lawful command by removing my hand from my coat. And then he drew his wet gun on me.
Okay. Can you not remove your hands from your pocket?
I don't have to remove my hand from my pocket. It's not a lawful order. I just looked it up.
It is a lawful.
No, it is not.
I think it's an officer safety issue.
The officer safety? What about public safety? He could have drew his taser instead of his firearm.
Doesn't know if you have a gun or not.
It doesn't matter, ma'am. I do not have to listen.
If you had a gun, if you had a
Ma'am, I looked it up. It says you have the right to ask. It does not say you have the right to demand. Ask me if I remove my hand from my pocket. Doesn't say I have to. If there is no what law says I have to remove my hand.
safety issue.
There is no law that says that you have to ask remove your pocket if you asked by a police officer.
He didn't ask you before he told you to.
Huh?
Not all anger at police comes from hate, it comes from disappointment. This man wasn't trying to start trouble. He simply wanted to observe how public servants were using public money. But instead of transparency, he got threats. In a system where cameras make cops uncomfortable, it's no wonder some see accountability as hostility. Well, what happens next shows why that discomfort runs so deep.
Are you upset that he didn't ask you before he told you to?
No, it don't matter if he asked or told me to. I don't have to. No, I don't. No, I don't. It's been fought in court and won. I know it has because I've seen case law after case law after case law on YouTube. What I did was I got up and I went and recorded his car, and I had my hand in my pocket. I had my camera in my other hand. Who in their right mind is going to walk up and have a camera in their hand showing, filming themselves shooting a cop? That wouldn't be very smart. But my point was, I walked around the vehicle, got the vehicle information. He jumped out and started demanding that I take my hand out of my pocket and this and that, and then started saying, I came to ask him for a fight. I didn't come to ask him for a fight.
Now the absurdity hits full speed. A citizen asks how officers spend their time, and for that, he gets a weapon pulled on him. No threat, no crime, just a question. And even after confirming he was unarmed, the officer kept him pinned in place. Because once they escalate, they refuse to retreat. It's about saving face, not enforcing law. And what the officer says next proves it.
I was wondering why my tax dollars is being wasted in a public parking lot for 45 minutes.
I don't know what he was working on up here.
I don't have to ask, but that's what I went and looked. I was getting his information.
You can get this information all you want this time.
Yeah. But I didn't have to have a gun pulled out and put in my face.
You have your hands in your pockets.
That's not a lawful order to have me remove my hands. I know for a fact because I fought it in court before.
Well, if you had a weapon on you, he doesn't know if you have.
I don't. He fucking patted me down.
You realize this, but that was after the fact.
It doesn't matter. Now he's got me illegally detained.
That's not illegal.
What am I here? What's he detained me for?
Loitering.
I'm not loitering. I'm waiting for my sister-in-law to get off work. She works here at Walmart. That's not loitering.
And you want to take your hands out of your pocket, right? And you want to identify yourself?
I didn't. He didn't ask me to identify myself. Ha! It's all on recording. It's all on recorded.
This is how fear becomes a tool, not a warning. When no law has been broken, officers reach for the word safety. It's vague, it's subjective, and it gives them the cover to ignore rules. The moment this officer's ego was bruised, the badge became a shield for retaliation. Safety didn't drive his actions, dominance did. And how he tries to justify that dominance? You'll want to hear it.
No, you did not. No, you did not. And unless I am suspected of a crime, I don't have to identify. Huh? So I'm not suspected of a crime. Taking my hand out of my pocket is not a crime.
Not a crime.
So then he unlawfully drew his weapon on me. If it's not a crime to not take my hand out of my pocket, then there's no crime for it. Safety what? Whose safety? His or mine?
Gun in your pocket. How does he know? He doesn't know if you got a gun, if you got a knife, if you got a taser, whatever you're doing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, what's the situation now?
With your hands out of your pocket.
I did take my hand out of my pocket. I showed him I had my lighter and cigarette keys in it. Then he grabbed me and Terry frisked me.
It's always the same performance. An officer escalates, then blames the tone of the person calling it out. Suddenly, it's not about what had happened, it's about how the citizen reacted. This is gaslighting in uniform. Provoke, escalate, then act like the calm, reasonable one once chaos erupts. But the real issue isn't the camera, it's the loss of control when the edit is no longer in their hands. And what the officer tries next shows just how desperate that control has become.
Then I went to walk away and he's telling me I'm here for a paycheck, getting all up in my face. It's all on recording.
Let me go talk to him. I'll be right back, okay?
Yep. I got it recorded. And I got a dash cam as well. Recorded the whole thing too, as well as this.
I understand, but you realize the comment.
I don't realize nothing.
I can't even talk to you, man. I can't say a word.
I don't need to be cop-splained to. Cop-splaining, blah, blah,
Why
blah.
are you asking questions if you don't want me to speak to you at all?
This is the part they truly can't stand. The reminder that their power has limits, that someone with a camera, a sharp memory, and a good lawyer could be the reason their badge doesn't mean immunity. That's when the bravado cracks, the smirks fade, and suddenly it's not so funny anymore. Because nothing shakes a bully like proof they've done it before. And the way they respond next reveals just how fragile that power really is.
You ask like 40 questions, the same ones over and over and over.
Yeah, because you're not.
Now cops playing.
Yep, because you're not telling me the law. The law. There is no law. She said it's not against the law.
No, I completely understand.
All right.
I understand.
We already got one officer fired from this department. I guess we're going to get another one. I don't know her name. She got fired because she confiscated cameras. Huh?
I thought you knew everything. I'm sorry.
I can't remember her name, but she confiscated our cameras for recording.
Explain or ask you anything or talk to you.
Like I said,
Exactly.
another person gone from this department.
You realize if you're a First Amendment officer, you have the right to remain silent. You can do that.
Well, I have the right to talk too.
That's what you do. But you ask me to not talk to you.
You're free to speak, they say, until you actually do. That's when the trap springs. It's not about conversation, it's about control. Say the wrong thing, use the wrong tone, or ask the wrong question and suddenly you're non-compliant. Because in moments like these, rights are only respected when they're silent. And how they spin that silence next is something to see.
Hold your window up on me twice.
I also have the right to not answer questions. I can talk all I want. You don't have to listen.
I got you, but you've expressed you don't want to talk to me and you continue to talk to me.
I'm just talking about out loud. I can be talking in general.
No, you want to connect with me. Y'all just want to connect with me at a conversational level at some way, shape, or form.
The officer calmly explains away the unholstered gun like it's just another part of the job. Draw first, justify later. The man who pulled the weapon fades into the background, while another officer steps in to patch it up. Smooth talk, relaxed tone, all rehearsed. But they lit the fire. Now they expect the man holding the camera to put it out. And what they say next will make that double standard even clearer.
My apologies. I don't know if you heard me. She's
I heard you.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid of this guy over here. He's already drew his gun on me and shown that his disdain for me.
I couldn't hear you.
I said, I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid of this deputy over here. He's already drew his weapon on me and showed his disdain for public.
I got you. So, again, I weren't here for it.
I understand.
So can we slow down for a second and let me help try to, or I guess help by trying to explain to you?
I don't need an explanation. I can show you the video what happened.
If you got it, perfect. Then I'll answer step by step. Here, I'll stand back. That way you ain't thinking I'm trying to reach in your car or nothing.
No, I'll just put it up to the window and I'll wait for the sergeant to come up too.
Okay. Because if he drew his gun and said, hold on, if he drew his gun in suspicion he's having something.
It doesn't matter.
He complied and took his hands out, right?
Oh yeah, after he drew his weapon on me.
You let him pat you down.
Yeah.
You realized he had no gun, right?
Yeah, but then he tried to detain me again. No.
He put it away.
Yeah, but that's beside the point. You don't draw your weapon on some.
I don't know if you have a weapon. I don't.
Whatever.
Not everybody in the world is
That would be considered police brutality in my eyes.
Classic cop logic. If you had nothing to hide, why didn't you obey? They escalate without cause, wave a gun around, and act shocked when someone doesn't smile and say, "Yes, sir." To them, hesitation means guilt. But fear isn't a confession. It's a natural response to someone with a badge and a weapon yelling in your face. And their next excuse, it's as backwards as it gets.
So we should trust everybody on their word constantly all the time as police officers? When it's all our job?
I'm supposed to trust you on your word too?
Yeah.
Saying that it's a lawful order to tell me what to do when I ain't breaking the law?
Sir, if you knew that was completely unlawful, why'd you comply with it?
I didn't comply with it until he drew his gun on me.
Right?
After he drew his gun on me?
And what if you had a gun?
Whatever. If I would have had a gun, I would have probably been shot, you idiot.
Exactly.
God.
But if you didn't have a gun like you didn't,
And then he proceeded to continue with this. Then he
all the
proceeded.
thing you wanted you to do was put your hands in your pocket.
And I did. And then he patted me down. And then when I told him he's going to get a lawsuit against him, this is when he went berserk and started.
What's the common denominator right now? All you had to do the first time he said, "Hey man, can you take your hands out your pocket?" If you went, "Yeah, my bad."
The real tragedy isn't just the abuse of power, it's the belief that the uniform makes it acceptable. Respect isn't earned, it's demanded. Cameras aren't dangerous because they threaten safety, they're dangerous because they threaten control. And deep down, they know fear is the only thing keeping that control intact. What happens next shows exactly what they fear most.
I know I just walked out of nowhere in a dark parking lot. That's my mistake. I can see how that can be misconstrued.
No, I don't see how it's misconstrued because you guys walk up on us with guns.
Right here, and I walked up and
You're the one with a gun.
yeah, but I'm in full uniform. You know what I am. You know what
I don't care.
I have no idea who you are. If
I walk up with a camera and got a gun drawn on me.
in a dark parking lot and said, "Hey man, I got my hands in my pocket," and I'm walking up to you while you're sitting in your car. You have no idea I'm there. That's gonna surprise you. It's gonna startle you.
So I can't have my hands in my pocket when it's cool outside.
We're talking in circles again.
Yeah, we are.
I'm attempting to sit here and
We are talking in circles because it's not a lawful order to tell me something to do something.
nothing of it was unlawful,
No,
and it was an officer safety.
I don't care about officer safety. What about public safety? How many times have you guys shot and killed somebody for
That would
doing?
be a public safety thing because all I know is you're walking out of a parking lot in the middle of the night with your hands in your pocket. You could have a gun. The next person you walk up to could be the person that's replacing me, which is the person you intended to hurt that night. Again, this is all hypothetical.
Yeah.
Now comes the theater. The officer spins a fantasy scenario, complete with imaginary threats and exaggerated reactions. It's a script only he can see, and everyone else is expected to play along. Not because there's any real justification, well, they're relying on performance, hoping no one notices how bad the acting is. And just wait until you hear the next scene in that story.
Exactly. Hypothetical. Huh? I was flicking my asses, so shut the fuck up. See, you tell me to quit flicking my asses in my floorboard. Give me.
You see how I said anything? It's because I can see your hands.
That's fine.
I got you. So you see how the whole issue is where we're at right now?
Yeah, no. If he's that fucking scared, he should quit his job.
I've done it twice now in demonstration. I
These-
didn't die. I didn't lose.
Did you hear me? If he's that fucking scared, maybe he should quit his job. If he's that scared of me flicking my asses, maybe he should quit his fucking job.
I got it. So you're under the understanding though of what everything seems and looks like, correct?
I know what it looks like. I got it all on video.
We have to investigate and go forward. Because all we have is what we have to work with, correct?
There's something rehearsed in how they frame chaos as just a misunderstanding. Jumping out of a car, barking commands at a calm person, acting like basic curiosity is hostility. It's all part of the playbook. In their world, authority speaks one language: compliance. Anything else is a threat. And what they demand next makes that mindset even clearer.
So all he had was that you were sitting here, and
It don't matter.
And then you approached him. So to him, he has no idea if you have any business here.
He
whatsoever or
could
not.
have asked me, "Can I help you?" instead of "Get your hands out of your pocket."
But when our sergeant walked up to you and said, "Oh, you could have asked him this information," you said, "Oh, I don't have to."
I didn't have to, but I wasn't walking up to his. I didn't walk up to his window. I didn't walk up to his window, and I was 20 feet away before he jumped out from the car. Before he jumped out, before I had gotten close enough to do anything or say anything to him. Before even any of that happened, and he's give me direct orders. I don't have to follow your orders.
The circumstantial things that are going on. It's dark in the parking lot. He has no idea because you haven't said, "Hey," while you're walking up with your hands up, "Hey, my sister works here." You don't have to do that, but obviously you doing this.
Only in a cops action movie fantasy does a quiet man with a camera become a threat just for having a hand in his pocket. The officer wasn't seeing reality, he was imagining one. And once the scene is set in his mind, he's not reacting to facts, he's defending his story. But the next chapter in that story, well, it's even more unhinged.
Walking up with a camera in one hand and my pocket, and my hand in my pocket in the other.
Oh, so you have one hand out. Okay.
Like this.
Guess what? The other hand is still in your pocket. I have no idea what's in that pocket. Dude.
Yeah, and it doesn't look bulky enough to have a gun in it.
Tiny, they make guns now? You know how many people I've arrested with tiny guns in their pockets?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
I mean, Anderson County arrested a fella and he was in jail and had a revolver in his pocket that they didn't even find.
Then that's on you for not properly searching the guy.
You think all guns are big and bulky?
I'm not saying it's big and bulky. What I'm saying is I did nothing illegal. I still haven't done anything illegal, and I'm illegally being detained right now.
Okay, so tell me what you would have lost in this entire situation if you went, "My bad," and took your other hand out. Just the moment he asked you.
This is where the suspicion stops being about behavior and starts being about existence. Standing in a public space, holding a camera, that's now cause for investigation? According to the officer, yes. He tries to criminalize presence itself, as if public space is only for people who keep their heads down. And the justification he gives next, it's as hollow as it gets.
The moment that he asked me, nothing. And what did he lose? What did he lose? Because I don't have to. That's the whole point. So if I'm walking down the street with my hand in my pocket and you walk up to me and say, hey, I need to talk to you, take your hand out of your pocket.
I'm not suspecting you of anything.
I'm not saying I wasn't doing anything. He couldn't have suspected me of anything other than walking up with a camera.
That's why if I said, if you let me explain.
All he could have seen was me walking up with a camera.
Because right what you just said right there, you said he doesn't suspect you of anything. He has no idea what you haven't approached the store whatsoever. You just said, I have no idea. I'm sorry, I'm stepping on my words here.
Yep, you are.
Said that he had no reason to suspect you to do anything, right? Well, guess what? He never watched you approach the store, so I can suspect you of loitering, correct? You said he can't do anything unless
you know what? Walmart has a standing rule that you can be in their parking lot for a certain amount of times.
There's one question that always cracks the act. Am I free to go? It's clear, legal, and devastating when they don't have an answer. Because the moment they stall, they're stalling for time, not building a case, but waiting for someone higher up to clean up the mess they made. And what they do next proves they were just buying time all along.
Am I free to go? 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 For what? For what? What am I being detained for?
You want to hear from me or from my supervisor?
Supervisor, what am I being detained for?
1 second. Hold on, she's on the phone.
Suddenly, the cop needs to confirm a sister's name and investigate why someone approached the parked car. These aren't real concerns, they're filler. It's a scramble to retroactively create a reason for something they never had a reason for to start. And the longer they talk, the more it feels like a performance. And the performance only gets more desperate from here.
Hey, we're trying to investigate it further, see what's going on, okay?
For what are you investigating?
Because I don't know if it's a loitering thing. You said your sister's inside, right?
Yep, she works here.
What's your sister's name?
Michelle Tolley.
Michelle what?
Tolley, Toelle. She's an employee here. 8:30.
Okay. What's she look like?
5'6", 5'7", brown hair, kind of chunky.
We're gonna figure that out, and I'm also talking to other people, just trying to figure out things. Okay, so we're investigating.
What are you investigating? What did?
Since you didn't take your hands out of your
That's not a lawful order. No, it's not. No, I don't give a shit if it's a safety issue. It's not a lawful order. He had no right to approach me in the first place. I approached the vehicle, and then he got out all hostile.
Very close to the vehicle.
I was 20 feet away when he jumped out.
If I were those officers, I'd have walked away a long time ago. An hour in, still no crime, still no reason to be there, and yet they keep going. Not because they have to, but because backing down feels like losing. Meanwhile, the guy with the camera, still standing. But what finally happens next is the part that really matters.
If he sees you walking to his vehicle, it's a safety thing.
Whatever. So me coming up with a camera recording is a safety
I'm
issue.
gonna get out and ask you what's going on.
Well, and
If your one hand's in the pocket.
that doesn't stop me from. You can't force me to. I already looked it up. It's not a lawful order. You can ask me to take my hand out of my pocket. You can't demand it.
We can if you won't take it out.
No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't arrest me for it. Not taking my hand out of my pocket. What was the reasonable articulable suspicion for asking me to take my hand out of my pocket in the first place?
You don't even know what
So-
you're talking.
Yeah, I do.
So the suspicion of the crime that he thought you thinks you're committing.
What's reasonable articulable suspiption?
You've been sitting here not approaching the store.
So what's that got to do with anything? That's not loitering. He don't have no proof that I was loitering. So you can't say loitering.
In the end, they had to walk away. No charges, no crime, just a man who stood his ground. And let this be a reminder, if you don't assert your rights, no one's going to hand them to you. Thankfully, this guy did. But don't get too comfortable, because if you think these were the worst cops out there, think again. Just take a look at our next encounter. The city released a social media statement claiming one dog had been shot. They said the dog was injured, behaving strangely and possibly rabid. But then the story started to unravel. The person who had been in contact with the dog filed a formal complaint, revealing that Joint Communications had already confirmed the dog was not aggressive. Investigators and journalists stepped in, and what they uncovered was far more disturbing. And when you see who was behind it, you'll understand why people were outraged.
That's the view now.
The video cuts to Officer Woodson, whose actions would soon spark national backlash. Instead of assessing the situation with care, the officer acted with force. At first, you might think this story ends with a warning or a scare, but you'd be wrong. Because the officer's next move turns this story from tragic to unforgivable.
Oh, man. Neck's broken. There you go. Put your head in there. Put your head in there. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. There you go. There you go. I'm not gonna let you bite me. You keep looking all afraid. There we go. He's getting there. Come on, baby. Something you up.
The officer was called to catch a dog. That's it. But when the dog didn't respond to his commands, something in Woodson shifted. As if not being instantly obeyed bruised his ego. The dog was gentle, didn't bark, didn't flee. This wasn't about danger, it was about power. And how that power was abused is something you won't forget.
I'm gonna take you to get help. Gotcha. Nope, don't have you. There you go. Got it. Ah, you smooth dog. Gotcha. Don't let you bite me. No, snap out because you're feeling a little sensitive. There you go. Come on. Come on. Trying to help you, baby. Trying to help you.
You might think, well, he seems friendly enough. In the video, you hear him call out to the dog. He even sounds cheerful, but won't let that fool you. What happens next exposes the gap between tone and intention, because the officer's true nature comes out in a moment that chills the blood.
I'm trying to help you. Come on. There you go. See if I get a blanket. Just wrap you up. Like smooth as hell.
As the video continues, something doesn't feel right. The dog was just sniffing around, clearly more curious than aggressive. But the officer, you can see the irritation behind the fake smile. We've all heard the saying, people who dislike animals usually reveal more about themselves than they realize. And what this officer does next proves that point in the worst way.
Really 554. 218.
Come on, baby.
You want them either 1105 or 1106. It's going to be the ROR bond.
Have the dispatcher. I'm gonna pick it up.
Then, without warning, it happened. This officer who just moments earlier was smiling and whistling suddenly made a decision that changed everything. It was a snap judgment, and one that revealed exactly who he was, and it left everyone speechless.
Going carrying out already.
5448, 5844, 9 Holland, go ahead.
Animal dispatch.
10 Holland, 5844.
Disgust doesn't even begin to describe what happened. He shot a small, deaf, and blind lapdog, not because it posed a threat, but because he couldn't be bothered to do his job. And as awful as that act was, the worst part is what came after, because the aftermath made it clear this wasn't just negligence, it was cruelty. Officer Woodson picked up the dog's body like it was trash. No regret, no apology, no emotion. Just cold detachment, and he wasn't done. The person who had cared for the dog, who had loved that dog, was about to confront him. And the conversation that follows is as heartbreaking as the act itself.
Calm down.
My name is Nicholas Hunter. I live.
Okay.
I'm here talking to the officer that shot my dog, who is the person that found my dog and called joint communication. And I've spoke with her, and she has stated that the dog, she fed him, gave him water, and he was not fed. And she was just waiting, which nobody ever contacted her after she called joint communication, at which time she went outside.
I can respond to that. I'll tell you why we didn't call her.
Was my dog a threat to you or anyone else? Sir?
No, I'm gonna show you something.
What is your name?
I'm gonna show you something.
Number, sir?
I'm gonna show you something. Come here.
May I have your
I'm answering your questions. Come here.
Officer Woodson?
Come here.
May I have your badge number?
I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you why we didn't call her.
That dog was, this is to be known on record, my dog is completely blind and completely deaf.
My guy, look at this.
13 pounds.
What does that say right there? Does it say no contact? She said don't call her. Now, you want to talk, I'll talk to you happily.
That's not how you handle a situation. If a dog is a threat to a person and harms a person or shows immediate threat, that's when you use force. There is many other
Do you want
tactics
to talk or you want to tell me how to do the job? I'm more than happy to talk to you.
Job.
I'm more than happy to talk to you.
All the man wanted was the truth. He asked calmly why his dog was shot, but Officer Woodson wouldn't give a straight answer. Not because he didn't know why, but because he did. What he didn't count on was this man standing firm, because when evil cops are forced to face the people they've hurt, that's when the reality check of a lifetime finally hits.
There's no talking. You already took care of it. You handled it very poorly. Also, I like to be on the record that you told me whatever on the phone when I called about this situation. Hopefully your calls are recorded when I called in.
Do you want me to respond to anything? Or you just want to sit here and lecture me? I respond to a situation. All I have is information in hand, correct? All I have is information in hand. I see a dog that is walking around blindly. I don't know the dog's blind.
You didn't try to whistle?
Can I respond? Yes, I tried. I have a whole team in contact with me trying to contact him. I had a little leash out too trying to catch the dog. How am I supposed to know the dog is simply, that's his medical condition? Do I know your dog?
A dog, unless
do I know your dog?
You are a person.
You know, that is not how this works.
It's not.
That is not how this works.
We shall find out, sir.
You sure can.
I'm going to do my study.
But are you trying to have a conversation or you just want to keep on
no conversation. I guess if you're one
I'm trying to speak to you.
Citation.
Am I not trying to speak to you? Do I have my citation book out? Is there a pen in my hand? Am I not trying to respond to you? I'm not trying to ease the situation over. It's a situation. I don't enjoy shooting dogs. My God, all I had was a dog with a condition I don't know anything about it. I am sorry this happened. I'm not happy I had to shoot a dog. I got dogs myself. How am I supposed to know the dog's condition?
You wear a camera.
Then came the excuses. They were pathetic. According to the officer, ownership somehow justified lethal force, as if having a dog off-leash turned it into a target. But that logic only makes sense to someone trying to dodge responsibility. And believe it or not, the officer had even more to say.
I got a camera on this recording, but I'm asking you, how am I supposed to know the dog's condition?
There's other ways, there's tactics to find out if the dog responds, if he's aggressive.
I understand how to make a dog respond.
Lethal is last resort. You can use a taser, you can use a lasso. There's many other.
What's a taser? I had a lasso.
Other ways.
I had a lasso. I was using a lasso.
And did you feel harmed when you were trying to catch him?
Did I ever say I felt harmed? Did I feel pretty?
Exactly.
But you're not listening. You're not listening. You're trying to argue, but I'm just simply trying to talk to you.
Did he harm anybody when
I responded to a situation. Do you want to speak or do you just want to sit here and try to lecture me? I'm not trying to lecture you. I'm not saying you're a bad dog owner. I'm saying I have the information I have on hand. That's all I'm saying. And I'm sorry it happened to you. I'm sorry I had to do it. That's all I'm saying.
The more he spoke, the clearer it became he wasn't sorry. He twisted the story, shifted the blame, and tried to paint the grieving man as irresponsible. Because officers like Woodson aren't trained to admit fault, they're trained to deflect. And the final shift of blame is almost too much to stomach.
I'm not saying you're a bad owner. You don't see me writing a citation for a dog at large, do you? I'm not. It's a situation, buddy. I'm with you.
It's your authority.
What authority? I went and responded to a dog I thought had a medical issue.
I live by rules and regulations.
How was I supposed to know the dog to get hit by a car?
I lived by rules and regulations for 12 years.
How did I know the dog to get hit by a car?
Proper way.
How did I know the dog to get hit by a car?
To get hit by a car?
How did I not know that? How did I not know somebody didn't just throw the dog out? How was I supposed to know any of that?
Because you're supposed to, if you are a dog,
Is
to
your
get the dog, then you're supposed to catch him, man. You're not supposed to shoot him.
You did not hear me say I attempted that. That was my first step.
You take them to the pound.
We don't have a humane society here.
So what is your procedure?
What is my procedure? We have a pound up there. And what if I put the dog in there and it was a medical emergency and the dog was bleeding internally? Then it's just sitting there suffering. And then y'all be on me about the dog suffering. So how was I supposed to do? What else am I supposed to do? We don't have a freaking animal.
Like everybody else, it was on there for an hour before you responded and shot it. You're supposed to put it online, put the dog in back. I have everything on my phone.
Okay.
When the lady posted it to let me know he was lost and everything.
So it was online for an hour, so I didn't know about it.
Oh, it's all on Facebook.
Okay.
It's all on search.
That's fine.
And the lady has stated that there was no cause for that. There was no reason for it.
She stated afterwards.
She stated afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, she stated afterwards.
I understand that.
And you could put them in bag. and you can put them
Okay, if I
online.
can catch
And
him, I
if you can't
can put him
find them,
If I can catch him, I can
a
put him
squealing
back.
dog insinuates pain.
Despite everything, the officer faced no consequences. The city of Sturgeon defended his actions in a cold official statement. They said he acted within authority, hiding behind the claim that the dog might have been sick. It was damage control, not justice. So now we ask you, what punishment would fit this abuse of power? And if you think this is the worst it gets, keep watching. Some cops don't just cross the line, they obliterate it. Click the next video, and you'll see exactly what we mean.